Give me a 5 for 5, and we will get going on this one. Alrighty. Hey, Ron, good to see you, bud. Good to see you. Hey, first thing I want to say, guys, is, I text a few of my moderators when I go live, and Trinity just texted me back, said she's at one of her fur babies is sick, fighting for their life. So if you guys could, please, throw some prayers, good thoughts Trinity's way. Trinity, red pill, blue pill, hi-ho, Kermit the Frog, in case you guys didn't know already who that is. Hey, Gunslinger. I've actually been kind of putting this live stream off for a couple hours here because we had quite a few things going on, and I was trying to wait on data to come in, but I really didn't want to wait much longer, so it's 20 till 1 where I'm at on the East Coast, Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, so I want to make sure I get this out here to you, and I'm going to try to do a live stream tomorrow also, but we got a lot of stuff just happened to start happening. And again, this is par for the course for the sun. I've said this so many times. The sun can do what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants to do it. And that's exactly what's going on. So, if we look at this, what I want to show you guys first, this is the magnetopause. The sun's off to the left, and it's sending energy our way, right? Charged particles. And gets here on a magnetic connection line. But when it gets here, it impacts our magnetic field, right? And we have what's called the bow shock. And actually, I'm going to take you to, let's see here. Where was it? This one? Yeah. This is the same model. Not same model. It's showing you the same thing. Okay? This is a NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center, and it's Geospace Magnetosphere Movie Tool. Okay? It's just a visual representation of, in this case, the velocity of the eruptions or of the plasma moving. Okay? Hit it our way. This shows you the density. This shows magnetic pressure. We'll get to that pressure in a minute. Anybody that's been watching me for a while knows that that's a lot of magnetic pressure. Okay? But we'll talk about that in just a second. This is the Australian model. Shout out to my Aussies. Aussie. Love it. Anyway, this is a very simple model, and I love this thing because of its simplicity. This is the bow shock. They're representing it just with a line. I mean, that's all you need, really. We're just trying to get a basic idea of what's going on. We're not trying to figure out exactly, this, that, third, all the way over here, going way over here. Is it going to hit Mars in 3.5 days and all this other stuff, right? We're not doing that right here. This ain't what we do here. We just want to get an idea of what's going on and have a decent understanding of what could happen. And that's what we're doing. So this is the bow shock, and it's the first point of contact from space weather and our magnetic field. Okay? And the Australian model here shows it beautifully, right? It's just that line. Now, there's Earth, obviously, and then you got your, the other circle here is where a lot of our satellites are. We call it the satellite line. It's not all satellites orbit there, obviously. But they've got them labeled here. So if you want to know what satellite it's showing you, I show you guys GOES all the time. Here's the GOES satellites. Okay? All 4 of them right there. At least the 4 that they're showing us. It's 14, 16, 17, and 18. Okay? There's a bunch of GOES satellites. Guys, when you guys see a satellite picture on like a weather channel or things like that, typically a lot of those are coming from the GOES system. They're getting their data and their images from the GOES satellite system. And we're fortunate enough to be able to access those and look at them for ourselves for other reasons, right? But just know that like when you see like a global, like a hemispheric view of like cloud cover and stuff like that, when you're looking at a weather report, most likely you're seeing a lot of that stuff coming from these satellites. Okay? So that's what I will say. But anyway, this is on the 16th, right? Now we just turned over to the 17th where I'm at here on an Eastern Standard Time. We're about 4 hours difference from universal time, UTC, okay? And everything we talk about here goes off of UTC. And the reason why is so we can all be on the same time frame around the globe and not have to worry about trying to factor in everybody's, time zone. So that's why they use one specific one across the whole scientific community, okay, across the globe. There are a few that don't, but 99.9% of them probably do. So it eliminates a lot of confusion. Anyway, if you're on the East Coast, you got a 4-hour difference. Okay? Right now, it's 4:45 UTC. So just, do your little bit of math, or they've even got calculator apps. Or just go to Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever search engine you use and type it in. It'll give you your time zone. But anyway, this is just a really simple way to show you what's going on. You got this one here is going to give us a rather dramatic visual, okay? And it's okay. That's okay. It gives us a good idea of what's going on. And it does give us a more three-dimensional look of what's actually happening. Now, what you're seeing there, and please don't be fearful here. This is no fear here. This is nothing. We're not even under a geomagnetic storm. Our magnetic field is handling what's going on right now. Okay? We're getting impacted by something. And I don't know exactly yet what's causing it. It could be the current sheet that sometimes we have to cross over that in our own solar system. It's from the sun. You have a galactic current sheet too, but you also have the sun's current sheet that just spirals around and impacts us once in a while. But as you can see here, this is density. So that's all it's showing you is density. Notice how the bow shock looked like it's gone, but watch when the density changes, okay? The bow shock's still there. See, there's your bow shock. And why I'm telling you that is because some people think the bow shock goes down. It does not. The bow shock, if it was to go down, it means one of two things. Either our magnetic field is completely gone, or the sun's not there. And either one is a very bad day for all of us. Okay? So, I'm just telling you. We will lose our magnetic field for a brief point. I guess I shouldn't even say brief, because I don't really know. It's a lot of science behind it. We'll lose it when we have our pole flip, okay? It goes down for a certain amount of time. And that's why we're concerned with those kinds of things, because when our magnetic field is down, or even greatly weakened, it rips part of our atmosphere away. Solar wind is not going to stop coming. It's always there. Okay? Always. It's just certain times we get stronger ones than others. But I was looking at this, and I'm finding this really, really interesting because, let me show you. Okay, you see that? I don't know that I've seen a signature like that before on this particular model. I don't know what it means. I'm not trying to insinuate anything, okay? I'm not. I'm just saying I've never seen the visual on this particular model look like that. I don't have any idea why. I don't really have a good, and it closes up a little bit there, but it's really not closing up because what we're looking at here is density only. So the lighter colors are lighter density, and the darker colors are more dense. Okay? But this particular pattern here was strange to me. I've not seen it look like that. And I'm going to say something here, and I don't want anybody to infer anything here at all. Okay? Because I'm not. I'm just saying it looks, typically we get, you get the big arc out here and back here, right? That's usually what our magnetic field looks like. You can kind of see it. We kind of got a tail back here, right? And if you look at that, it looks like it's trying to form a tail in the front there just a little bit. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't, okay? So I'm not trying to say anything. What I'm saying is it's just what it, visually on this model, that's what that looks like. Okay? So, and all it is we're getting hit with something. And our magnetic field is actually handling it really well. Okay? and I'll show you why here in a second. But back to the Australian model, I'm going to just push play on this one. Okay? Oops. And watch our bow shock, guys. This thing is just, I mean, it's all over the place. Okay? And, you know, it gets hit, we get compression, and then we'll win that battle again, and we'll get rapid expansion, and it'll shoot out. Right? So I'm going to try to pause it here. Right there. This model also gives us an image every minute. So that's pretty cool. We don't get that on the other ones. Well, the magnetopause, the other NOAA model I just showed you, it is, but it's kind of hard to tell because of the way the model's set up. But you see how close that got to our satellite line, right? I don't think it got inside the satellite line this time. Not yet, anyway. And if it does, all it means is the satellite's exposed to, you know, it doesn't have the protection of our magnetic field anymore. It's out past our magnetic field when this line gets inside here. And it can affect the satellites. Most of the time when that happens, the satellites will go into what we call safe mode. Okay? And when it goes into safe mode, basically the satellite will shut down all of its main systems and kind of keep up just like a backup system running until all that stuff passes. And the reason why is because it can damage them. We've lost multiple satellites for stuff like this. Okay? So that's why it does it. And also I'm going to say this too. If you don't see data, like say we have missing images on a particular satellite, it doesn't mean that the data isn't there. Like I said before, guys, all these different, like this is an Australian model, right? This is NOAA's model, right? They're getting their data from the exact same place. They're just inputting it into a different model, and sometimes they will even use the same model, but they will tweak the parameters of that model to what they think best suits what's actually going on. Okay? So they'll take one thing at a higher consideration than the other inside the model. So it can affect how it looks. But make no mistake, they're getting the data from the same place. So the data is not missing. It's there. You just gotta, sometimes you gotta go somewhere else and look at it. It's really that simple. And most of the time you can go, like if you're getting your data from GOES, you can go straight to the GOES website and get it. It's there. The model might not be working because it takes people and it takes computer programming and stuff to be able to even get these models up. So that there's something there we got to take in consideration. So, you know, when you see a model, even if it looks completely different, like what I just showed you, doesn't mean that the data is any different, because it's not. Okay? So why did this bow shock shoot in like that? See if I can't get it back to that spot again. Okay, now, okay, so we go from 1.8 on the density here. See that right there? That's the proton density. And if we go forward, we shot straight to 125. That's a huge jump within inside of a minute. Okay? I don't know that that's an accurate reading. Okay? I actually left a comment over on Team at the Scoves underneath one of her videos asking her about this, and she took the time and wrote out a very lengthy reply to me, explaining to me that, hey, sometimes these are false readings. A lot of times when you see those big jumps like that, they are. And they work on it because it's a modeling issue. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Now, I'm not looking at raw data. So if I was going to look at raw data, that's different. If you're looking, but you also got to take consideration where that data is being collected at. So there's a whole lot of stuff you got to look at, right? So I don't know that this is exactly right, okay? But I'm not saying it's wrong, and let me tell you why. Right here. Okay? Now, remember what I said before. If your root data, like where everybody's getting their data from, is messed up, like it's not correct, every model that uses that data is going to be showing you incorrect views. Okay, it's not going to have the right thing to show you, right? Hey, Ripper, good to see you, bud. Drops family in the Hizzy, Michigan life, baby. Renee, what's up? But yeah, guys, please prayers for Trinity and her fur babies. She's pretty distraught. Okay, so please throw some prayers her way and good thoughts. But anyway, okay, so I'm looking at this, and this is the data, right? Now, first thing I look at on density, look how far up the graph goes this time. 1,000. So when you see that 1,000, you know you've had a reading somewhere in here that's higher than 100. Okay, now keep in mind what we consider normal or kind of ambient conditions would be 4. Okay, now just because we get a high dense hit doesn't mean that we're going to have a geomagnetic storm. Our magnetic field can handle these things during if we're in the right position magnetically. Okay, and that goes straight back to the BZ that I talk about all the time. Okay, when we're at -6 on the BZ, that's kind of the threshold we look at. This thing will show it, and it'll light up in purple. There's no purple here. So the BZ is hanging out right around 0, even a lot of times in the positive. So when it's in a negative position, that means we have coupled our magnetic fields in a way to where we couple to this space weather. Okay? And when we couple to it, we complete basically like a magnetic circuit, and it draws it in on our poles. It draws it in, it goes through our north or south pole and flows through. Just keeps doing the same thing, just like electricity does. Okay? So when we're at a -6, we kind of couple, and that's kind of like that magic number. Now, the further negative we go, the more we couple. So when we're like at -25, it doesn't take much to give us a geomagnetic storm when we're magnetically in that position. Okay? But yeah. So, oh shoot. I just jumped right into it, and I probably should have anyway, but guys, please like and share this video, please. I'm trying to say those YouTube things and just once and get it out of the way. It really does help, and thanks to everybody coming back and leaving comments. Please do that. Take a minute out of your day and just back up and go to the previous video, or when I'm done with this live stream, come back and just leave me a, hey, good video. Hey, this video sucked. You suck, Wages. I don't care what it says. Just leave me a comment, okay? Because it does help get it pushed out. All the super chat stuff is turned on now too. I am so close to starting memberships. You're not even, yeah, I'm like right there. I'm trying to get you guys some good emojis, because if you become a member, you get to be able to use special emojis, and and they're personalized. I get to choose which ones they are. So, and the memberships are going to be called we're going to be called the Kool-aid Krew, I guess. That's what everybody liked when I said it. So that's what it's going to be. And we're going to have different colored Kool-Aids as the levels. So anyway, back to this. But all that stuff is turned on. So if you guys want to help me out there, great. If not, hey, I get it. Never expected. Always appreciate it. So we will move on. And thanks again to Aaron. He left me another super thanks. That man is just like, wow. Crazy guy, man. Awesome stuff. So anyway, you got this BZ. And again, if it's at positive or right around neutral, Earth's magnetic field will handle so many things. Hey, Daniel, good to see you, bud. I need to quit looking at the chat. Guys, tell me. Hey, V. See, there I go again. I just love talking to you guys so much. Freaking, yeah, I'm just going to turn away from that chat. Sorry. But you see how everything here moved? Okay, but something else I also noticed. If I'm moving through here, if I'm moving through this data, right? You see what's happening there? Because it'll tell you what the reading is in those boxes. So I'm right there. There's no data there. It's back at 130, right? That's a high density reading. It was at 1.2. It goes away and then comes back. And each time it comes back, it seems to be kind of high or even like really, really low. So I don't know if it really has any effect on what comes after the data not being there. See, the data's missing there, and it came back. My point here is we don't typically have that many missing data points here on Discover. I don't know what's going on with that. And it could be the very reason we may be seeing these models acting the way that they are. But if they are a legitimate reading, and they could be, whatever's causing these readings could actually be why the data's not there. So it's really hard to tell. So we got to try to look at other things to kind of get a good idea of what's going on, right? So obviously we come to, SDO over here. But the first thing I look at is over here. Okay, now we have that data dropout we've been getting about once every 24 hours. And that's just because of the location of the satellite. Okay, that'll fix itself in about a week. It's just what happens. It's a simple location issue. All right, but we did get into a radiation storm and we stayed there for most of the day. That was from that bigger eruption that blew off the west side of the sun. Okay, now when you're looking at the sun, east-west is reversed. Okay, so just always remember that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you back here and show you that blast. I think it was, which one was it? Was it this one? Nope, wasn't that one. I think it might have been this one. Yeah. Okay, so that blast, it blew off that direction, right? So I've explained this before. When we get any eruptions on this side, we have a good chance, especially when they're a bigger eruption, of getting a radiation storm. So what's the difference? Why this side and not the other side? Well, because of the way that we magnetically connect to the sun. I'm going to take you guys over here to the CME tracker. That's that same eruption. This is an IMF line. Okay? It's the interplanetary magnetic field line. Everything is connected to the sun. See how we're here and how our line kind of loops out and comes over here? See that? It's not a straight shot. So what I'm saying is our magnetic field line is over here, connected to the sun. So when we get blast on this side, those blasts oftentimes will have to cross over that line. Sometimes it causes radiation storms, sometimes it doesn't. But what happens is when it crosses that, the protons will want to grab a hold of our line and travel to us. So we can have a completely, like, say we had a shot going this way, just kind of like this one is, but maybe even a little bit more further straight behind the sun. If it's wide enough, it has to cross our magnetic field line that we're connected to the sun with. And those protons will travel virtually backwards and get us. It'll come into our system. All right? So that's why. Now, we go down here. Here's the D region absorption. Now, it's like at the lowest level of our ionosphere is where this is located. This is what the region we're looking at. Okay, now you're looking at background X-ray. This is normal background X-ray right now. You see all that's kind of this black. That's the way it shows it. So when stuff comes in, you see it at the poles, right? So that's that protons. These are slowly starting to decrease as time goes on because that blast is already gone, right? So whatever protons we were getting has already been here, and we're starting to flush it out. That's what happens. And believe it or not, other hits from the sun can help flush those out. So, but the bullseye you see here, those are flares, and those are radio blackouts. That right there is a radio blackout. We had 2 M-class flares from this hyperactive sunspot. M-class flare, M-class flare. Okay? Now, it wasn't a big deal, so I wasn't too concerned about all that. I mean, it's not a big deal. They lost probably some communications for a very short amount of time, probably roughly around an hour, maybe. I would think, maybe a little bit less. But it affects like first responders. That's the radio systems they use. They use those shortwave and high frequency radios. They use a whole barrage of things. They use GPS also. But for the most part, first responders are affected by radio blackouts because it diminishes their capability to be able to communicate. So they have to go to their other backup systems and all that kind of stuff. Why is this important? Well, say your spouse had a heart attack, was laying on the floor, and we just had a flare. Well, now the first responders are slowed down to get to you because of the radio blackout. That's why this stuff matters, guys. Okay? That's why just communication in general. It's just good to know that, So that's why we talk about radio blackouts. This radiation storm absolutely didn't affect us whatsoever. Okay? Biologically, it didn't affect any of the satellites, none of that crap. None of that stuff happened. And we wouldn't expect it with a low-level radiation storm. We need something stronger. Okay? So just keep that in mind. So let's go back over here to seeds, and that's that blast that caused the radiation storm. Now, we had a couple other blasts on the sun here, too. I'll just let this thing run, and we'll take a look at them. And I want to show you this because I do think we had a couple what I would call stealth CMEs. This is a black occulter disc, okay? It's there all the time. It's physically on the camera. It blocks out the main light of the sun. But I'm seeing some faint halo signatures coming around this thing outside of these bigger eruptions. Okay, now they're not big. They're not like massive, but they are there. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, you kind of see this kind of hazy look. It's outside of this one, right? I think that there could have been a small little CME popped off, like directly at us. And I got some stuff to show you to support that. I'm not just going to say that and, oh, it's coming. I'm not. That's not what I do. So this is SDO, another satellite from our perspective. It's always looking at the sun, but it's in geosynchronistic orbit, which means it stays over the same part of our planet and rotates with us. Orbits around the Earth at the same speed that we rotate around our axis, 15 degrees an hour. So given that, it means it stays over the exact same part of our planet, which is the Eastern Pacific, south of, well, it'll go up through a little bit of Mexico. It does a figure-8 pattern, and it goes down south also into into the Pacific Ocean right off the coast of South America. But it does a figure-8 pattern while it's orbiting at 15 degrees an hour. It keeps its eye on the sun, just like the Lord of the Rings, the big great eye. So what we're looking at are different angstroms of light. Okay? Sorry about that, guys. My computer froze up. I don't know what the heck that was about. Okay. You guys still got me? My computer froze there. Hey, BK. Good to see you. Somebody give me a 5 for 5 so I know we're good. I'll check out your comment a little bit later, bud. Are we still 5 for 5, guys? Okay, cool. Thanks, V. Appreciate you. It's always good to see you, girl. Always. So, okay. Now, if we're 5 for 5, we're going to keep going. All right, cool. My computer froze. I just didn't want to, keep moving. 7 by 7. Yeah. I'll take it. Okay, so what we're looking at here, this is the 304 angstrom. We've had a big filament snap right here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring you guys in on this one because this has potential to hit us. Okay, this is just happening, and so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and update that so we get some more imaging. But I can't say for sure. Now it definitely has a southerly direction that it snaps off at. okay? I will say that straight up because that's important to understand. If it doesn't go far enough south, it probably will hit us. So look right here. Here we go. You'll see a dark shadow start to appear right there. See it lifting off? And it snaps. Okay? So that is a filament eruption. It was right around that sunspot. Okay? It actually ripped a pretty big hole in the sun's atmosphere as it left. Okay? So whammo, right? Now, I will say this. It doesn't look like it's moving all that fast. So that would decrease the power of the effect that it would have. But you can also see it kind of open up like what we would call a canyon of fire. And it's really not a canyon of fire either. I'm not going to go into why they call it that. Well, I know why they call it that because it visually looks like that. But it's not really what it is, okay? You got to have oxygen for fire, guys. So we're talking about different things when we're looking at the sun. Anyway, so wham, right? So you can kind of see how everything brightens up along this line. All right? So that's actually a pretty impressive filament. Now, I've seen a lot worse, right? I mean, but it doesn't look, you're going to get it, it's going to be toned down when the sun is the background. You don't have the blackness of space back here for a contrast. So visually, anything that happens here on the sun right in the front isn't going to be as spectacular as it would look if it was over here or over here on the limbs or the pole regions, okay? So let me take you down here to the 211. It's just another part of the light spectrum, guys, that we can't see. And they could give this, matter of fact, the 211, hold on a minute. The 171 up here, if you were to go over to, I think it's the GOES network, the GOES satellites, they have the same imaging, type of imaging, the extreme ultraviolet, but the 171 light spectrum over there is blue. They can give it whatever color they want, okay? It's not the actual color of what you're seeing. So, but check this out right here. I'll show you the filament eruption here on the 211 because it's actually pretty impressive on this imaging. So let me get you moving here. Now that one over there, that was the one yesterday, okay? So again, we're looking here. Okay, now I want to show you that first. You guys see that? Watch right here. See that? Now I can't say for sure that if that left the sun. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Okay? But that was a puff of something. You even seen it here and here. Now, also up here. Watch. If any of that left the sun, that would be coming at us. Now, most likely it wouldn't give us much of an issue. But those are they're almost like stealth CMEs. You almost can't see them. Okay, and I showed you why, because that occulter disk is on the other satellite, right? So let's take a look at this bigger one right down here, and this is where the filament erupted off. Okay, see how different that looks than the 304? Look at that. Okay, so it gives you an idea, and why I think this has a chance of hitting us is because you can see the atmosphere of the sun kind of ripple out. It gets distorted all the way up here. So, in other words, it's going to fan out as it leaves the sun, and it most likely will be becoming some sort of Earth-directed component to it. Is it going to be a direct hit? I don't think so. If it was, would it be a huge deal? I don't think so either. I think, if I had to put a number on it, maybe a G1, G2 on a filament looking like that. That's moving pretty slow, looks to be, okay? But the majority of that, keep in mind, these are ropes, right? So when they snap, they just like a whip, it's going to fling out whatever direction. It's not like a centralized explosion from just a single point eruption, right? So what we're talking about is a thin, I wouldn't call it thin either, that's probably the wrong word. But we'll look at the 304 to be able to show us better about what I'm talking about right now. You can see the other ones laying on the surface here. See them, the dark shadows? So let me back it up. So you see how it breaks in the middle, and they don't always break in the middle. Sometimes they'll snap off over here, and then what that does is it causes this piece to kind of fling out even further. So it has, you know, it's a whole lot of unknown, is what I'm trying to tell you. And with that happening down in that position, it does have a chance of having an earth-directed component, but it does to me. Now, keep in mind, right here, see how it was connected? So when it snapped right here, this part of that filament is still looks like if it snapped off, would come this way, right? Now, this part looks like that would be the part that would probably miss us, even though it kind of looks a little different, kind of opposite of that. You know, he's got to kind of, I guess, have an imagination here a little bit. Just kind of look at it in that direction. But you can see how this could possibly give us a hit. And again, we'll talk more about that in the next day or so, because we'll have more data coming in and all that. So, but I did think that was fairly impressive here on the 211. I always think it is. Now we also have, I'm going to show you this one more time here. Okay. So what I'm thinking, guys, those smaller little puffs, we could have had one like 3 days ago, right? And if that had happened 3 days ago, that could explain why we're seeing this. Okay? But I have to point out, look at this. Look how well our magnetic field is handling this. And I'll explain as this model goes a little further here. Okay, you can see it hitting. You're getting compression and rapid expansion, just like we've seen over here. It's just a different visual, right? So let me push play here again. Now watch all this pressure just hit this time. See how it was building? So let me grab it here and do it like this. See how that kind of built? But what I want to point out, do you see the spacing we have right here? Usually when we're in a geomagnetic storm, that will be completely red. So that's telling me that our magnetic field is handling this really well. And I know why. Most of us, you know where I'm going with this. The BZ. Okay? So you got the BZ right there. And it's running right at 0 pretty much. So what do we look at? We look for the -6, like I said a few minutes ago. That way we couple to it, our magnetic field will couple, and it just draws it in. Okay? So it allows it to come in. But when we're not coupled, it has the opposite effect, guys. It allows it to deflect it like that. So that's why we can take bigger hits, what looks to be bigger hits, and deflect it. And other times we'll get really small ones we didn't think was going to do anything that will. Because the BZ would be -6, right? Now I will point out that our magnetic field is roughly about 25% weaker than what it was, so that will affect things. We are seeing effects that we wouldn't see a few years back because our magnetic field is weakening. You know, we could go into all that with all the satellites falling out of the sky during that G1 storm when they tried to launch the Starlink satellites, and they had a problem. They lost quite a few of their satellites. And they had launched in G1 storm conditions multiple times before. So it shouldn't have done that, and it did. And then it happened again a week later to a different company. And so that during another G1 storm. They're not afraid to launch G1 storms. They shouldn't be, because it should not affect stuff like that. And it did. So twice. In 2 separate weeks, 2 separate companies. So that tells me that Space Weather definitely had an effect on that. That's just my opinion. And there's a lot that share that opinion. And I'm sure there's a lot out there that disagree. And that's okay. It really is. So let's go back over here to ISWA, and I want to show you this incoming sunspot. Okay, this sunspot and this sunspot, these are our old friends that caused some of the X flares about 2 weeks ago. I believe it was this one that did. They're rotating, they made it all the way through the backside, guys, and they're rotating back in again. This has already flared twice, like I showed you. It's already caused 2 radio blackouts, and it's still behind the sun. The only reason why we got X-ray from that is because it was big enough, and it's not completely on this side of the sun yet. So in other words, that would probably have been an M5, M6, maybe even bigger. Okay? Because we did not get all the X-ray from that. The sun blocked it. Physically was in the way. When a flare happens, X-ray goes out in all directions, pretty much equally. Okay? And it gets here in about 8 minutes. It's moving at the speed of light. That's the X-ray part. So if there's a physical obstruction there, it can't make it past it. So oftentimes we'll see these flares happen over here, and they're really stronger than what we were able to get a reading on, because the sun blocks it from our detectors. So that's why. But hey, Wrath, what's up? Oh, Sherry O'Neill Digger, good to see you. Now, so with these, this one here, and then we got another one here too. Guys, we're going to have to keep our, keep an eye out here on these, because the more they flare, the better chance they have of throwing some CMEs out, okay? And when they do that, obviously, they could come our direction. And if they do, then we could be looking at geomagnetic storms. We could be looking at higher level flaring, all of that, right? So this is the 171. And I'm just showing it to you because this is showing us some of those eruptions back there. And it gives us a good idea how strong these X flares, or not X flares, but the sunspots are flaring. See how bright it's getting? Both of those sunspots are pretty impressive. Okay? You can tell because all their magnetic loops here are stretching way out. You can see it. So, yeah, these are, just compare this one to one of them over here that's facing us right now. This is the one that just busted the filament off right here. Look how it looks there. Look at the difference. Okay? So that's the difference I'm talking about. Hey, Leisure, good to see you, bud. Wharton, what's up? Yes. Thank you, Ron. Earthquakes. Yes. Here at the beginning of right before I started my stream, I can't remember her name, at the first one in the chat. She was asking about, she was on her way to Iceland and she should be worried. Yeah, there's a volcano erupting there right now. But Ron would know more about that than me. Go check out Ron over at Emergency Management Associates. He'll give you all the information you want on that. I don't have the knowledge like he does on that one, guys. So I trust him on that one. And obviously, guys, you can go watch whoever you want, right? I mean, the big guys are out there, and I always say this: watch everybody, and then make your own decision. I can tell you this: the first one I go to is Ron. When I see stuff like that, I'll run over to his channel and check it out. So just know that that's where I go. That means anything to you guys. But and I watch everybody else too. And then when Ron agrees with everybody else and everybody else is agreeing with Ron, then I know that there's probably a pretty good chance of whatever's going on is going to be going on, right? Now, if they're disagreeing, obviously I'll probably lean towards Ron. That's just who I trust. So, you know what I'm saying? So go check him out. All right, guys. So now, again, we got lots of sunspots there. I also want to show you this too while I'm here. What you're looking at there on the right here is right now. This is a picture, an image of the sun in 2020. This is during solar minimum. You guys see the difference? Okay, this is why we make such a big deal about the sun cycle. Because there's a huge difference. Now, it doesn't mean that the sun doesn't do anything during solar minimum, because it absolutely does. It can still fire off just as big and powerful ones as we can during solar maximum. And if it does, if we have a big one happen during solar minimum and it hits us, it's actually worse for us than what it would be during solar maximum. And the reason why is during solar maximum, we're getting more geomagnetic activity always hitting us. The geomagnetic activity helps us, it helps protect us. It keeps our magnetic field strong. Well, it helps anyway. It just adds that extra layer of protection. So when we don't have that for an extended period of time, our protection does kind of dwindle down a little bit. So if we're dwindled down during solar minimum and the solar minimum sun decides it wants to blast a Carrington event size freaking flare at us, we got issues. You know what I mean? Oh, by the way, Carrington event X45. I won't forget that again, guys. Sorry. The Carrington event was an X45 flare. Okay. And obviously it was a G5 storm of some sort. So, yeah. When we were talking about it last stream, I had forgotten what size the flare was. But it's an X45. I think somebody left me a comment telling me that. I actually Googled it too. So, anyway. Thank you for giving me that info, whoever that was. I might have even responded. So, anyway. But, yeah, so that's the difference in the sun, guys. I mean, look at that. It's a huge difference. It really, truly is. And, again, with our magnetic field, and our magnetic field is going to continue to weaken. We're in that cycle. It's not a matter of if. It is simply a matter of when we're going to take a big hit. And that's why we're trying to make everybody be aware. So you're not scared and you can make good decisions when the bad things happen. Now, hopefully, none of this will happen while anybody listening to me is alive. You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to go through all that. But chances are, there is a chance that we could still be here. And, you know, I don't know when all that stuff's going to happen. And there's a lot of, and even the people that give you forecasting and stuff, most of them will tell you, hey, I can't give you 100% on anything. You know what I mean? Because you just simply can't. So we try to dwindle it down into like a season. If anybody knows the Bible, you know, they talk about seasons even in the Bible. You know, you can't know the day, the time, or the hour, but you can know the season. So that's kind of what we do in respect to space weather. We're trying to just kind of narrow it down to the season so we can be aware and understand that when something happens and we no longer have electricity, we don't have to sit here and wonder what caused it like our neighbor's going to. Hey, Zenwin, thank you. Good to see you, girl. Hey, thanks. Appreciate that. Thank you. I know this is kind of a weird time to be streaming, but I had to tonight. So, thank you. I really appreciate that. But yeah, so give Zenwin some love in there, guys. Put a 1 in the chat for Zenwin. She's coming back to watch. That deserves a 1. Hey, if you guys have any ideas of anybody that's going to be a member here on the channel when I start it up next week, if you guys have any special emojis that you guys want me to kind of add, let me know. I can do that. It makes the chat more fun. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, guys, trying to see if I'm remembering. There was a lot of stuff happening, guys. There really was. So let me let's check seeds again. Update it. A lot of times, if you guys come over here to seeds, guys, remember that's the satellite we were just looking at. It's about 1 million miles closer to the sun. Hey, Jammer. than what we are, and it does the same orbit we do at 365 days a year, right? Takes it a year to orbit the sun, roughly. But it takes the same amount of time for the satellite also. But it's if you think about it, it's orbiting slower because it's closer to the sun. When we're talking about speed. But anyway, that's where that satellite's at. So let's so when you come down here, if there's a CME happening and it detects it, it will highlight it down here at the bottom. Please come, guys, don't be afraid to go to these websites. Please go click and look. I mean, that's why I do this. When I first started my channel, I actually was showing everybody exactly what buttons to push and everything, because it was so new to me, and it was new to everybody that was watching, most of them anyway. And that's, I learned that way. You can't hurt anything. Don't be afraid of it. You guys are smart. Way smarter than I am. But anyway, over here on Lasco C2, right, on seeds, this is the website, seeds. All these are in my description box, guys. They're all there. Also, I would say this. Come over here to NOAA. Just type in NOAA, Space Weather Prediction Center. Scroll down to the bottom. Products and data. You're going to see almost all of the models. See these models right here? The sub tab here? Models. Look at all these different models you can look at. And these are the ones that I use. So you guys can get the same one. Dashboards. If you want to look at Aurora, go like this. Boop. You click on that. Look. What's it do? It gives you a dashboard of Aurora information. This is forecasting for Aurora. Here's planetary K index, which is what we look at for geomagnetic storms. Why do they show you that on the Aurora dashboard? Because it takes a geomagnetic storm or geomagnetic activity to cause Aurora. So everything applicable to Aurora is going to be here, right? So if you scroll back down, look, it even shows you what we would expect. A KP of 3 is quiet. It's kind of where we're at right now, right? Right here. A KP of 5, this is what you would expect to see with Aurora. KP of 7, KP of 9. So we're talking what? A G1 storm here, talking a G2 to 3 here, and we're talking a G5 storm over here. Now, I will say that I think that they need to redo these, because we are seeing Aurora further south than what we used to. What that means is our magnetic field's weakening, more things are getting in, and it's causing Aurora down further south. Aurora also likes the equinoxes, okay? The Russell-McPherson effect, okay? We see more cracks open up in our magnetic field during closer to the equinoxes, which allows Aurora to show up further south, okay? That's just a brief explanation. So, but please check that out. Go over here and start clicking around, guys. You can't hurt nothing, I promise. And if you go back down here, scroll all the way back down to the bottom, we'll go back to right where we were at. Space Weather Enthusiast. Right there. See it? All there. There's not a button that you can click that we can't unclick. I'll just say that. Now, this is the CME tracker for Enlil. It's the Enlil Spiral, and this is NOAA's version of it. I showed you guys the NASA version earlier. So I'm just going to grab it. This is the top-down view, side cut, okay? This one gives us 2 days historic data and 5 days forecast in front of us. I don't trust it out that far. I say that every time. I only trust it out about 2 days. That's why I nowcast instead of forecast, okay? Yeah. Sometimes I'm right with forecasting, sometimes I'm wrong. It's about 50-50 with me, and that's why I quit doing it. I'll give you my opinion. Like, when do I think that this, you're probably wondering, when do I think that this filament's going to hit us? If it does hit us. About 3 days. Okay? That's the time frame. Probably anywhere between 3 to 5 days that filament will arrive. If it's going to hit us. It may or may not. Not sure. But I just wanted to point that out, guys. So please come over here and check it out. Check this out too. This is the same model as this one. This is just NASA's version of it. Now, NASA only updates every time it sees a CME. So if it sees a CME, it'll only show you that one CME, unless two of them are really close together. So and once it resets, you won't see this one on there at all, which is why I actually like the NOAA version better. Now, if you ever go see an official forecast for space weather, what you're going to see is the NOAA forecast. That is the official forecast. Okay, so if you're ever wondering that. Also, here on the Space Weather Enthusiast board, you will see the forecasting here for almost everything. This is what they would expect for geomagnetic storming, the KP index. It's just a number they use to show you. That's the measurement they use for geomagnetic activity. A KP of 5 will be a G1 storm. Okay? Just like a thunderstorm warning. Now, they do the same thing to the S1. That's radiation storm. Now, down here, they're giving you chances for flares. I think this is going to change rather quickly. Okay? R1, R2 is an M flare. Right? R3 is X flare and above. All right? So they're saying a 5% chance of an M flare on the 17th. Guys, we've already done that. Getting close to it anyway. So, I think we're going to see more. I do think that this sunspot is very active. I don't think it's going to slow down. Okay? So what we're going to do, we'll just update that real quick. And we'll take a look at it where it's at right now. So what are we looking at? We are looking at flare, boom. See, it even shows up here on the 131 too, this one here, that filament. We sometimes can't see filament eruptions on these other views. But see how wide out that goes? See the energy going all the way out here? Okay. Wham. So yeah, you guys got any questions? I'll try to answer them. Hey, Texan. That's really all I got to show you tonight, guys. I know it was quite a bit. And I was waiting for that reason because stuff just kept happening. I don't like to jump out here in a hurry. I make mistakes when I do that. And I think a lot of people do. Hey, Poor Husky, good to see you. Homestead. Hey, Gene, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. The best way you guys can support me, guys, is obviously sharing it out. You know, if you want to super chat, great. That's awesome. I really do appreciate it when you guys do that too. It does help. But like watching and sharing out, that's really the greatest way you can help anybody's channel grow. And that's what I'm trying to do. I really do want to get to 100K, guys. I would love to be able to get to that level. And it's going to take everybody else to help me. I can't do it on my own. You know, I really try, and I gauge my success by the people that I shout out, by their success. I really do. That's just the role I've played since I've been here on YouTube and really in my life. I like to support people. I enjoy it. I like to help other people feel good, and that makes me feel good. So in a way, I'm kind of doing it for myself too. You know what I mean? But it's kind of a weird thing. You know, I shout out Ron all the time. I shout out Tommy over on the lifeboat. You know, guys, go check him out over on the lifeboat. Marth, my God, Marth and Dex and the whole Marfugal crew, guys, Fugal fam. You guys have, yeah, you changed my channel to the point in a good way. My channel, without everybody I just said and others, my channel would not be what it is at all. I don't think any channel can really grow without help of another. At least multiple others. And we're all one community, whether everybody wants to agree with that or not. We really are. So we got to help each other. And that's the only way we get it. You know, like over on the lifeboat, there are people that are in active addiction and in recovery in every genre that you look at. So why would you not want every genre exposed to the lifeboat? Do you see what I'm saying, guys? It just helps. People get real help that way. So, and it helps what we're doing here. We're trying to bring awareness to something that isn't widely talked about. Prepping, Rip Curl, go check him out. Trinity, she does some deep dives into some really cool stuff. I mean, all that. And go check out, like I said, Marfugal, Ron, Earthquake Guy. That's what I call him. He's my Earthquake Guy. But, and I'm going to not be able to say everybody, right? I'm going to forget people and all that. I can't say everybody because there's so many great people. And so my suggestion, guys, is to check out my awesome channel list that I got. It's there on my page. And I'm still adding to it. So anybody that I would shout out is going to be on there. Tamitha Scove, everybody, guys. Anybody that I would, say, go watch these guys. They're going to be there. Eventually. I haven't got them all there yet. I'm still working on a whole lot of other things. But, oh, Jeremy, okay, cool. Extra news in chat. My group opens to all, okay, cool. That's your is that your Telegram group? If I remember right. Back at you, BK. Oh. That's cool. Heck yeah. Yeah, Mark does a really good job with that shoutro. Hey, there's something else that Mark does. Guys, when you're in Mark's live stream over there, at the end of his newscast that him and Dex do, if you simply just stay in the chat, it will port you over to the shoutro, which is a different channel. It's his channel, and he does, he's mixing music and stuff. And it's really cool. It's this really positive thing. Gets people feeling good, all of that. And he does a really good job at it. But I'm thinking about doing that here too. I might, at some time, say, hey, if Tommy's streaming, I might say, hey, let's everybody hang out in the chat, and it'll port you straight over there. That kind of thing. And I think if all of us that have channels do that for each other, I think our channels will grow. I really do. I think it can do nothing but help us all. You know what I mean? So, it's a really cool feature that they added about a year ago. It might not even been a year ago. But anyway. So, I saved all the shout-out stuff and all that stuff for the end. I'm doing really good about that. Hey, you guys out there that used to rip my butt for doing shout-outs at the beginning and stuff, I want some compliments in my comment section. I'm doing good saving that stuff to the end now. I want to hear some compliments for your boy Wages over here. All right? Yeah, check out Ron. Ron, you can put your link in there anytime you want, bud. An abrupt stop to communication systems today would mean, in terms of irreparable destruction of the. Yep, I agree, bud. It's an unfortunate fact, guys. I mean, if our communications and our electricity goes out and doesn't come back on for any length of time, just learn everything you can before that happens. That's all I'm going to say. And there is no fear. And it's about being aware so you can make those proper decisions when those things happen. That's all it's about. Like Marth, he'll tell you straight up. He does news from a prepper standpoint. He's giving you the news from his viewpoint there. And he gives you they do a full bibliography. Every source, he'll read it. He won't tell you what to think. He just tells you what's going on. And then he might give his opinion from a prepper standpoint. But all the source information is there. He tells you, take what he says with a grain of salt. Go read it. And that's exactly what I say to you guys here too. Don't take what I'm saying for anything. Go look at it. You guys are smart. You taught me more than I could ever teach you. And that's a promise. So, but anyway, guys, I am going to go ahead and pop off. We've been on here quite some time tonight, a little over an hour. But look for memberships, and I got some cool stuff with the membership thing. I'm going to add a perk to where you can be my pre-stream setup when I'm getting everything ready. I'm probably going to run a members only thing there so people can watch me do that. I think it'd be, and we can talk while I'm doing it. So, yeah, I'm thinking about on the higher levels, like doing it like a steering committee, help me kind of steer the channel, those kinds of things, what direction we want to go in, add something, take something away, do some Zoom meetings with each other, those kinds of things. Those are the extra things I'm talking about with memberships, guys. It ain't gonna, any kind of stuff I show you guys now is not going to change. The information I'm giving to you right now is always going to be the same here. I'm not going to take anything away. I'm not putting that there. I will shut memberships off in the snap of a finger if I catch myself doing any of that. And you guys hold me to that, please. Because if that was to happen, it wouldn't be intentional. So please let me know if I do anything like that. But we haven't even started them yet. I'm just telling you guys, hey, that's kind of what we're looking at. You get cool emojis to use. You get badges. You're able to give basically it's not really a super chat. During, like, if you've been a member for like 2 months, it'll let you type in a message and it highlights it and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool stuff. So hopefully you guys can help me out there with that. And I can do that. I can do, yeah, I'll put a chipmunk emoji out there, Gunslinger. 100. Yep. He's got a, yeah, Tommy, guys, I think I'm the one that did the emojis, the special emojis for you guys over on the lifeboat. I helped Tommy set up his memberships when we got that all rolling over there. So, but go check out Tommy, guys. It's good stuff. And everybody else. I know I always forget somebody. Hey, before we leave out of here, I want to see like 1,000 ones in the chat for Trinity and her fur babies. If you guys don't know Trinity, red pill, blue pill, ho from the frog here. She's one of her fur babies is really sick, fighting for its life, I guess. She's got it at the animal hospital. She's pretty distraught, so please throw her some good thoughts and prayers. But put some ones in there for her, would you? Before you step out, please. It would mean the world to me and to her, I'm sure. So, thank you, Piper. Appreciate you. She's such a good soul. She really is. Hate to see her go through that stuff. But anyway, guys, I am going to go ahead and pop off. So, God bless. There you go, Jammer. Yahusha saves. And, yeah, you can drink this Kool-Aid.